at 0.25% risk, instead of 10 trades at 1% and you've lost it, that's 40 trades. You've 4 times it.
Exactly.
And the likelihood, if you're being disciplined, the likelihood of you losing that many trades in a row is I would say near impossible. Welcome back, guys. We had a 2-minute little break and we're back for another episode of Words of Rizdom Podcast. Still with Mr. RTD and Mr. King of Dubai, Mr. Yousef. It's great to have you still. We'll just crack straight into it again.
I'm going to start this one.
You go on.
Now, unfortunately, this is meant to be a surprise for Riz. This is meant to be a surprise, but Riz too smart. Riz too damn sharp. And he clocked the surprise. But for the viewers, for those of you who've been watching for a while, especially Riz, one thing you'll know, amongst many other things, is that he loves his Palm Angel stop. He loves his Palm Angel stops. And he's always in them, day and night. So
day and night?
Well, you never know.
Sleep in them. Okay.
You never know. But so as you can probably see that I'm wearing Day 15 hoodie. Some of you might have already caught a glimpse on socials and stuff. And for the longest time, obviously, Riz has done a lot for me, not only in terms of giving me help in terms of mentoring and psychology when I started, but also giving me platform and stuff to basically build my own thing in that sense, in terms of my own name and stuff, my own brand. So for that, and also because, for those of you who watched the Day 15 podcast and understood the message behind it, you would know that Riz is someone who truly embodies that. And that's something I haven't even said it to him, which is, I'm like, feels weird even saying something nice to each other because we're just violating each other all the time now. But for that reason...
Can you imagine? It does feel weird, actually.
I know, right?
I can't take it. I might cry.
For that reason, you better cry, bro. And a very late birthday present. Riz, this is your gift, bro. If I can get it out the bag. If you want to show the camera, pass that over to you.
Amazing. Here, guys. Can you imagine it doesn't fit me? It would be motivation to
get into it.
Wait. Day 15, the vibes. Yeah, RI.
Got initials on it and everything.
Custom made. This is the hilarious thing, right? No, because I love it. Thank you, bro. Honestly.
No worries, bro.
Thank you.
I want to see you in that all the time now. Next podcast, you better be. Hey, no. We'll save that for later. Right, so I'll just I'll explain a little blooper, yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
I'll try to show
this camera.
It took me ages. I was actually liaising with Riz's wife, Mario, for a long time to get this. I wanted to make sure it's all done properly. And it took a long time for me to find first of all, a supplier for the clothes because I wanted good quality clothes. And then it took even longer time for me to actually coordinate the embroidery with the embroiderers.
Yeah.
Finally got around to it because I've been at uni. They were down in London. So finally got down to it. And I sent them all the details. I was like, listen, I measured it out to the centimeter. I was like, listen, I want it this size, this position, the initials RI, like make sure you got it. And then, of course, you guys have probably seen the schematic of life, the little graph, the reaccumulation.
That's a bullish one.
Of course, the fucking higher highs is the whole point, right? Yeah. So I sent that to them. And literally yesterday, so before the meal, I was meant to pick these T-shirts up, right? This hoodie and Riz's T-shirt and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I open the thing up and I turn it around. And instead of a reaccumulation, they've done it upside down.
Distribution.
So it's looking like a distro. It's just lower lows. I'm like, bro, I looked at him. I was like, bro, this is wrong. I was like, what have you done? I sent you this picture. You've done this. And he's like, shit. And he was sat there with his little pick,
unstitching it,
trying to unstitch it and stuff. I'm like, bro, hurry up. That's why I was late to the meal.
Yeah.
And then on the way to the meal, Riz is pissed. He's like, why the fuck are you late? He's like, you didn't even try to leave on time. What the hell? I was like, bro, I can't tell you. And he thought I was trying shit. And then
the thing is, he told me that he got, I got a surprise for you on the podcast. And I'm like, I don't like surprises really. So I was like, tell me. He's like, no, you'll find out. I said, tell me now or you're not coming. And he's like, oh, it's your surprise birthday gift. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then that happened yesterday. And then he was sat there and then I didn't clock it at first. And then he sat there and I saw Day 15 in his top. And then I saw his initials on his sleeve and I was like, okay.
And he
said, got me this.
I was guessing. I was like, I thought beforehand, I was like, if he guesses, I'm going to find a way to like fumble up. I'm going to be like, oh, you wish you ain't getting that, blah, 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 blah. As soon as he said it, I just crumbled. I was like, fuck yeah, you got it right. Yeah, that's your gift. So I was like, shit.
He said to me, pretend that you, pretend you're surprised.
You promised me you're going to shed a tear, bro.
Yeah, but you ruined it because you said he knew. So then I was ready to be like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Oh.
You can still cry, look.
It's too late now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. plus you got the unstitching on the back. It's still there.
And the thing is, if I didn't tell you that I had a surprise for you Saturday, I would have left it. But then because I told you, I was like, I have to get it sorted, unstitch the whole thing. But there'll be a better one.
No, don't worry. This is nice, man. It's good quality.
Yeah.
People have always asked me to do well, not always, but like, so a lot of people have mentioned over the year and a half of Vipers to do merch. And I like the idea just in case, just one, to have my own merch and to wear it myself, so I don't have to wear like Palm Angels or anything. Two, because I like creating things. Like that's why I like the podcast and I like doing the vlogs, because it's fun to create a story and create like a movie, if you will, and stuff. And then that will be something different, creating a nice clothing or something. But I just don't see, it takes a lot of time and energy, as I can imagine. And it's like, I don't see the reason really. I think,
thanks, man. This guy just... Easy shit.
No, but I obviously I have to do the Vipers and everything. Right?
No, I understand. I'm joking. Yeah.
But like, the only time I'll do it is like for the next meetup. So just so that we, just the mentors, like if me and you went, or like the senior Vipers, like if we went somewhere, we can all have nice, just not matching, but like, Viper branded tops. But that's it.
I think it's a sick way to like connect people in that way as well.
Yeah,
like
true,
we were saying, like I think it was me, KJ, and Kieran. We were talking yesterday. We were like, imagine when I released this Day 15 merch, and then everyone on the webinar was wearing Day 15. You know what I'm trying to say? All of the Vipers are wearing Day. Like it's such a nice way to like a community feel.
It's true.
Just adds to it.
We should think like what we say. What's it called? Condora, is it?
Yeah. I should get Condora. Yeah.
We should get one.
Yeah.
We should do it.
I think that'd be amazing.
I don't know if it's allowed though. Condoras are plain white. That's it.
No.
Surely you can get the little embroidery on it.
If you want, usually people don't do. It's usually plain, but different colors.
You can start waves on it, bro. That'd be amazing.
I can imagine Yousef really wants. One day we should buy him a Manchester United Condora. All the way down. Yes, it's pure, like the whole colours all the way down. Man. Was it like, how did you get into English football? Well, not English, but like European football, I guess. I know it's an international thing.
Not even football, but like even the culture, because he speaks. Sometimes he speaks as if like he's from London.
That's because of you.
Yeah, that I learned from him.
Yeah, that's because of you.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, growing up in Dubai, was it because of Dubai, or just generally that you have like sort of been kind of adopted many different cultural practices, not practices, but like you have an understanding of so many cultures and languages. So many languages.
I think it comes from traveling from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been traveling all around the world since I'm a small kid, maybe 1 year old or something like this, So I think it comes from that, because the more you travel, the more you have a wider horizon of seeing things, understanding different cultures, different people, interacting with different people. Yes. I think it comes from that.
That's what we were just talking about in the last podcast. I was saying how like I don't believe you can truly know yourself until you traveled.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know the world that you're living in, even if let's say you haven't traveled everywhere, because that's a hard task. But even just a small, even one holiday makes a massive difference. It broadens your horizon.
Also seeing how you act as a person in different situations.
Yeah, definitely. If you travel alone, for sure.
Yeah.
If you travel alone, I think you really find yourself, because then that's where you're in uncomfortable positions and you don't have anyone else to rely on.
Right.
I haven't personally, I've done one travel alone where I went to South Korea. My brother-in-law was there in South Korea though, when I got there. And then I went to the mountains there by myself. That was probably the best experience ever.
I think I heard you speak about that recently.
Yeah, like literally it was like the most peaceful time and the most majestic experience, and it was just uncomfortable because like I got in the taxi, no English. I'm there like showing them a picture of these mountains and we're in the middle of a city. Well, I don't know where they are. And then and literally I remember the taxi driver, she drove, obviously must have drove towards the mountains or something. Then we went to one spot. That wasn't it. I said to her, wait here, do not drive off. Because I don't want to get left here because it seems like it's the middle of nowhere. Looked around. No, this isn't it. Got back in the car. We went somewhere else. Anyway, that experience itself is just the memory alone is amazing. Right? It's a great story. But the experience of being independent, putting yourself in that uncomfortable position helps you to grow, and it does shape you to make you better, to make you understand yourself more. And would you say that has been sort of, because of traveling a lot as well, has that helped to shape you into the person you are now?
Definitely. I think one is traveling, and the other thing is in Dubai also you have a lot of nationalities living together. I mean, we have in Dubai, I think, more than 200 different nationalities all living in the same place together. So you interact every day with so many different cultures, nationalities, languages, So I think, and this has been like this for the last, nearly all my life. Since the last 35 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can imagine, like, I know we've spoken before, well, personally we've spoken before about, kids going school there.
Yeah.
They are, instead of being in school where everyone's from, same city and pretty, they are different backgrounds, but same city pretty much, same experience. Instead now you're going to school with kids from who are actually from America, who are actually from Africa, who are actually from Asia, and have actually grown up there a bit as well and experienced that and know that culture and know that language. So now your kids taking all this information in. One thing I do need to ask you actually, because I said that I was very interested in taking my daughter to Dubai and educating her there. I still am. And I was saying that it's a benefit to have these things. But one person did say to me that maybe a negative though of that is that those families sometimes move a lot. So suddenly you can't make those like longer term connections because one day they might just move away. Yeah. Is that actually a thing or is it not really?
You mean families who are...
like the kids in school.
Yeah, they do move. It depends. Not everybody's there long term. Some people maybe stay there for 2-3 years or something like this. And then it depends, I think, on the parents' job opportunities or something like this. Things can change and they move. Yeah, it's not all...
Have you found that it's a not a problem, but is it a bit hard sometimes, or is it actually, it's kind of normal?
I think it's normal. It's not I don't see it as a negative thing, it's normal. Plus, for example, my children, they go to school, they have friends from all over. I mean, they have British friends, they have Asian friends, they have Arab friends, African friends, people, but it's normal.
It's weird though, because that's at such a young age, like you get that exposure. For us, though, it's like by the time we get to uni, when we're already like 18, 19, is when we start seeing other cultures.
Very true, very true.
And by then, like our conditioning almost is like kind of done. Our programming is done. Like our acceptance.
We're not as like a sponge anymore. We're not really taking in as much.
Before that young age, I can imagine it'll be amazing. Yeah.
Exactly. My kids, for example, in school, they teach them Arabic, English. They have a choice to choose, I think, Spanish or French or
German.
Probably have
Chinese.
A
Chinese, I think.
Chinese is the one to go for, bro.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember I remember hearing like, the learning Mandarin is the future. That's the best thing you can possibly do. And I was like, Mandarin? Like, why the hell am I going to learn Mandarin? I understood why, as in like, if you go out there, then of course it's going to be beneficial. And I know that they're mass producers back then, especially, and even now to this day, like still they produce pretty much everything. So if you want to be a producer in business, then you need some form of production. Obviously, learning Mandarin is going to be helpful, but in terms of what we're hearing nowadays, like the fear that they're putting out, right? Maybe not fear, but like they're saying that there potentially is a narrative where China will take over as the superpower of the world, with Russia, for example, instead of the US. That would mean that English would no longer be the universal language after a couple decades. It would probably mean that Mandarin would then become the business language to know, because they're the ones who are controlling how society is ran. We're talking about the social credit system that they have over there, and how other countries are looking to follow suit. So it's kind of like scary. I find it weird because this is me going down like the conspiracy corner. Like I wish I had a button where things got dark or something. I've seen that on another podcast.
That'd be sick.
When someone starts talking about conspiracy, they press this button and everything goes dark and the spotlight goes on that person.
That'd be amazing. You should.
I know. We're gonna get there one day. You never know. As long as we continue to grow and do great conversations like this, then I'm sure we will get there. But talking about that credit score system, right? And they're sort of they've always been the mass producers of the world. And then when you think of what's just happened, unprecedented what's just happened over the last few years with COVID, where did that begin? Began in China. Yeah. Think about when, I don't know if I should talk about COVID, it might shadow ban my video, but think about when it first started though. Do you remember on the news and online of videos of people dropping dead or dropping to the floor? I don't know about dead, but
they look like zombies.
They'll stood there and then they'll just drop on the floor and that's it.
Just fear, man.
No, but think about it. Like now that we've obviously gone through this period, and I think probably all of us have probably had COVID at some point, right?
Yeah.
What the heck was that? You know what I mean? Like what the heck was that?
Yeah.
That was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And it started there. They did the fear mongering. It came out of there.
Shut the whole world down. And as far as I remember there was remember that flash crash on the stocks and everything?
Yeah.
As far as I remember reading reports that China bought the fuck out of the dip.
Damn.
Right? Meaning that they literally bought so much of these companies that they became, I don't want to say like they're the major shareholder or anything, but they bought a massive market share, at this time. And it just, to me, when you follow the chain of events and now where we're at now, when we're seeing these tensions with like Russia and China joining forces and China wanting to take Taiwan and so on and so forth. When you see this chain of events, it really I always sit there and think like, it's like all orchestrated. You know what I mean? Like it's all, and plus like if you then to back it up with other things like this COVID stuff has really backed up cashless society. It's really backed up getting people used to. Look at the systems that were already in place before COVID happened. We already had things like Uber Eats,
that sort of stuff.
right? Apple Pay, Uber Eats, Deliveroo,
Face IDs.
yeah, Face IDs. We had all of these things in place before COVID, so that when COVID time happened, because if we didn't have them, I think it would have been much harder to keep people controlled. But because you've allowed for comfort, you know, you've gotten people used to being comfort, right? They're already ready to stay at home. They're already they're not going to fight because they can have their food, they can have their thing or whatever, you know. You've already designed new TV shows and new streaming services, and they can have 1 million shows for nothing compared to back in the day.
And then you've got the introduction of things like TikTok that make it even easier.
TikTok's dangerous, bro.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Very dangerous.
That's when it took off pretty much.
Well, they say that TikTok, obviously that was Chinese. That's Chinese,
right?
Yeah, and they say that when you sign up to TikTok, in the terms and conditions, you're giving them everything, not just your TikTok data. So like what you're posting there and liking there, you're giving them access to your whole phone. Everything you do, right? If anything you do on your phone, they have access to, apparently, you know, in their terms and conditions. I haven't read their terms.
You know, the wild one I heard about TikTok in China is obviously they control the algo of TikTok, right? So I heard that, I don't know how true this is, but I heard that if you get TikTok in China, for example, like,
it's showing you positive stuff.
It's showing you like educational things, and the kids are like on job and like they're learning shit. And then you fucking look at the Western world, like America, we're just dancing around like idiots and like all this random shit going on. And that's what the masses are consuming.
Yeah, bro. That's how you that's how you control a generation.
Do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like all these little events that happen every day is like the lower time frame. And then all this other shit, you look at like the years, is like the higher time frame narrative.
Well, that's how everything makes sense. That's the way we talk about time horizon, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you are focused too much on day to day, week to week, you're not going to progress very far.
You're going to be very lost all the time.
But if you are focused on like, what am I going to do in a decade, you know, and the work that I need to put in to do that decade, like that vision, right? That same vision with Dubai, and like with any visionary in life, you know, who have created great things. When they had a vision, they weren't thinking, I need making the light bulb. You know what I mean? He didn't go, I'm going to do that in a week. You know what I mean? Like, if he did, he would never have done it. He would have got to the end of the week and been like, fuck this.
Didn't work.
You know, it didn't work. All right? But because he was like, I'm going to make that light bulb, and he probably said to himself, within my lifetime, you know? He didn't probably say a week or even a year or 10 years. He probably didn't put a time on it. He said, until I die, I'm going to try and make that light, you know? And by doing so, I think that they say he did 10,000 attempts to get that one light bulb, to get that one hit. Just as they say we need to do 10,000 hours on the charts before we start to see that consistency. It's the same principle. But the difference is that people coming into trading saying, hey, I got 1 year, 6 months, 3 months.
Yeah, I'm going to give myself this.
Yeah, but they're not thinking time horizon wise. Okay, see what you can achieve in 5 years. Realistically, honestly, don't get me wrong. With obviously the availability now, and Yousef probably be able to speak on this a bit more, but with the availability of all the information you have now, all the different potential communities you can have, even without the communities, I think there's actually enough free information out there.
Yep.
So if you really want to do the work and you're really insightful, you're really good at just understanding that it's you and you need to do stuff and there's things you need to change to be a winner. I think there's enough information on YouTube alone to make you a consistent trader, right?
Agreed.
But it's that time horizon. If someone sat there and said, okay, I'm going to give myself a solid 3 years to do this, right? Rather than a year. A lot of people, I think, give them a year, but it's just not enough, right? You can. I've met people who've done it. I have met people who've done it. I've seen people who've done it sooner.
It's just about the mindset, though. It's about how you approach it, know what's possible. You know what I'm trying to say?
Everybody has a different learning curve, Everybody's not the same. So
yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, there are similarities in a journey, but it's not the same journey, right? In terms of similarities, it's like, in terms of like, okay, greed or patience or FOMO. People will all experience these things, but there's always going to be a difference in terms of like how you have to handle it. How do you overcome it? How do you work through that, and process that so that you can make it more manageable. And that's where I think that's really where a problem comes in terms of trying to teach as well. Like, there's not a one key fits all, there's not one just this, I just have to say this and you've got it now. That's all I need to say. And that's where I know me and Christian do it a lot, where we try to we explain the same thing over and over, but we're doing it in so let's say we're explaining one thing, but we'll explain it in 10 different ways, right? All of them make sense, but we understand that out of let's say 100 people, 10 people are going to resonate with this way, 10 people that way.
I didn't even understand that till recently, where I said the same thing that I've been saying for like a year now.
In a different...
just said it again, or maybe in a different way. And then someone that's been attending for a year was like, oh, now it makes sense. In the back of my mind, I still don't really understand, like, so like what happened the other like 100 times I've said it. Like, why didn't it make sense then? But the fact remains that at a certain point, something is going to hit them differently. You know, it doesn't mean they weren't present for the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? But the thing with, I was going to say something like, oh yeah, in terms of the new traders, I feel like one thing that everyone needs to understand is that trading and lifestyle go hand in hand. It's what we speak about. Like, the Viper group is no longer just a trading community. Ultimately, we are like a lifestyle community, like overall growth and improvement, because that's what goes hand in hand with the trading. People think that trading is like, they treat it as something in isolation, as part, it's just one part of their life, and they're trying to be a good trader, but they're not an overall good person or like have a healthy lifestyle. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's why it doesn't work for a lot of people, because they think that discipline and that patience and all of the rest of it, they only need to have when they're on the charts. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's where they go wrong, because it's just not possible. You can't just have all of that for those hour you're on the charts and then not for that the rest of the 23 hours of the day, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's what helped me.
It's a reflection of you, isn't it?
Exactly.
The charts
Exactly.
and your results are a reflection of you.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, if you can't have emotional control in your... Because I've met people where traffic gets to them so bad, like they just go crazy. And there might be... Sometimes there are other factors that make them more emotional. Sometimes, obviously, they are smoking weed or doing certain things. Or maybe just there are circumstances, stress, a lot of stress involved. But generally, I've met a lot of people where they can't control their emotions. The one, they're late, someone's late to something, or they're late to something, they're pissed about it, or someone, a classic one I've done a few times, where you're walking down the street and you accidentally just bump shoulders with someone, complete accident. Most of the time, you have no problem. It's not, you don't even look sometimes. It's just like, oh, cool, that's just happened, whatever. Like, you don't even look at them. They don't look at you either. They're not bothered.
Yeah.
Then you have the times where someone's like, they're proper irate, and there's something, something's going on with this guy, or he just has no control of his emotions.
Yeah.
Right. And I had it. I remember once where it happened at 5 a.m. Right, 5 a.m, and I'm on a morning walk, and he did that, and I was thinking in my head, I didn't do nothing. I was like, whatever, and I just thought in my head, like, this guy must be something must be going on in this guy's life, right? Something wrong for him to be at 5 a.m. at that angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then,
for a lot of people though, like that mindset, I mean, there's going to be that small minority where shit is hitting the fan in your life and you're just in a shit place. That's fine. For the majority of people though, I feel like they use the whole, oh, I'm stressing as an excuse. A lot of the time, no disrespect to people who are actually struggling, but a lot of the time people don't realize and they don't take the accountability that their mindset is a reflection of their daily habits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? And then they don't have the discipline or even like self-respect to sort their daily habits out. They're like, oh, I'm stressed, so I'm just going to sit and smoke weed all day.
Yeah.
Or I'm...
Especially, I would say especially young. I would like, teenagers, early 20s who are in that stage. Yeah. I would definitely say that's what they do, because I think they can get away with it at that stage. Because they will probably still have
major responsibilities like families and stuff. Yeah.
They'll probably, especially with like student loans and sometimes we're living with families, so they have less responsibility. But it only hurts them. It only hurts them the older they get, because if they've not adopted like that independence mindset and that mindset of I need, regardless of anything, I need to push forward and need to be better. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, by the time you're 30, you can't do that. Yeah. If you try and do that, you're gonna end up on the street. Yeah. You're not gonna get anywhere. I think is
people they make it very conditional as well. They're like, oh, when this happens, or when I do this, or when something, when external shit sorts itself out, then I'll sort myself out. And then the understanding needs to be you can do it at any point.
That's true.
That's also just fear though. I feel like people are actually scared to like get on with it. You know what I'm trying to say? I feel like there's some part of some people where they're scared to get out into the world, make the mistakes, get their hands dirty, and like just get on with life. I feel like that is a part.
In a way, yeah. I think, we always talk about fear. Like a lot of people live the average life. The majority, we have to remember that the people who are watching this are not going to be the people who are working the average life. They're not. No, they're not trying to watch a podcast about investing or finance or mindset or anything. They're not bothered, because they're just here and they're happy just to wake up, go to work, go home, and go sleep. Go wake up, go to work, go home, go sleep, have the weekend, and that's it. That's actually the majority of the world. You have to remember, the majority of the world live that life. And I'm guilty of forgetting that we're a minority. The people that we're trying to speak to and we interact with day to day are actually a minority. But because we're immersed in them, in these communities and just in general in the space, I think we forget that really there aren't as many people who think this way or trying to think this way as we think.
Yeah.
So when we reflect on these like 20-year-olds and so on, a
They're
lot of
probably
them
cool with
probably
it, yeah.
don't care. Yeah, they're probably cool.
Yeah.
They're not thinking. But we always have to remember it's the people who complain.
That's what I was talking about.
If you're complaining,
Yeah.
like, oh, you know, I want to be or you're trying to say, or your words are saying, I want to be a millionaire, I want to do this, but your actions are not backing it up.
Bullshit, yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones who need to really
If
have
anything,
a check.
like I look at the people that are happy in that life, and I'm kind of envious of them. I'm like, shit, man, I'm stressing every fucking day because I want to grow this, and they're doing pretty much compared to that. Fuck
I
all.
hear it,
and they're cool, they're chilling.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I could be envious of that sometimes. But yeah, speaking to the people that are complaining, they need to sort their shit out. Definitely, I feel like one thing that I was mentioning to the members on the winner circle is everyone has this vision of who they want to be and what they want to be like. And there's many things that we could talk about with this particular topic. And two most important ones is like that vision we put on a pedestal. Like we look out and we're like, oh, one day I'm going to be like this, right? And people don't understand that actually that version of yourself is the most raw and authentic version. So instead of building and adding and doing extra things, you actually need to shed yourself of things like bad habits and limiting beliefs and stuff. But also it's what was the other thing? It's understanding that if you have this vision, you know exactly what you want to be like, and then compare that to what you're doing now. Every decision you make, just have in the back of my mind, like, would that person do this? And if the answer is no, don't do it. Like, if you have this vision that one day you're going to be a millionaire and you're going to be living in a penthouse and all this sort of stuff, does that person smoke weed at like 2 PM? No. So why are you doing it? And you know, all of a sudden, just that one decision and you're so much closer already.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I used to say the same. Like, envision the person. You know, when you envision yourself as a consistent trader.
Yeah.
You know, what does your office look like? Is it clean? You know, what are you like? What's your temperament like? You know, or what do you have a candle on? Do you have a particular poster on the wall? Do you have a particular screen?
Yeah.
You know, whatever. All you need to, and what is your mindset like? Are you organized? Is it organized look when you envision that picture? And you know, the understanding is that you already know who you need to be, right? The vision's there, the picture's in your mind. You already know exactly what you need to be successful. You just need to become that person now. That's it. You just need to adopt the mindset.
Wait. Yeah, just do it now.
That's
Get
it.
on with it. Yeah.
One thing I was going to ask you though, Yousef, is that we were just talking about pressure, right? So you run that the business, the family business, right?
Yes.
And there's, I think, what was it, 200-300 employees at the time as well?
Correct.
How do you handle that pressure, you know, of every day? There was a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, I was literally with him a few weeks back. He's very similar, like he manages many things, you know, family, business, multiple businesses, trading. And I said the same to him because he's always busy, always active, but always busy. And I said the same thing to him. And he said to me, and I don't know if it'll be the same answer. I think it may be, but probably a bit different as well. He said to me, and I literally, I understood. He goes, when I wake up, the first thing I think about is my expenses. So then I have no fucking choice. I'm up and I'm fucking active, you know? Because the first thing I'm thinking about is my expenses. And not in the sense that just the money. He's thinking about, I got so many mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Right? I not just my family, but all these other people, everyone else. I got to feed them all, right? And I was like, wow. You know, like normally you don't think about money, you know, like you wouldn't want to say, hey, I'll think about money as soon as I wake up. But it's not thinking about money as in I need to make, I want to make millions. It's I have to, my expenses are, let's say 10K. If I don't make 10K this month, all these people ain't eating, you know? And I was like, wow, you know, it's a very interesting mindset. Like, so obviously, you know, in terms, especially as a trader and then managing all these things, how do you handle that pressure? What helps you, you know, to stay motivated and driven?
I can resonate with what he says. It's the same thing because when I think about this a lot also every day. It's not only about me managing a company. We have to make money to feed all these people and their families back home also, you know. So it's like, if you think about it, it's like thousands of people. It's not just your 200-300 employees. And I think the pressure, you get used to it. I mean, I've been working for my family now for the last 14 years nearly. So at the beginning it was more difficult, but I think you get used to it.
Did you, when you first started then, did you do a thing where you kind of started like a lower level to build experience?
Yeah.
Yeah?
When I first joined, I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. So I had to start from the bottom, I would say.
I like that though, it's very good, you know.
Because if you just go sit on the top and you don't know what's going down there,
no one's going to respect you.
Exactly.
And you won't understand the role.
Exactly. You won't understand what are their issues, problems, all that, you know. So I said I have to start from the bottom. I didn't know nothing, so yeah.
Yeah, that was a saying I've always liked to say, like, everyone, you know, the in like the soldiers and the generals, right? You know, if you want to be a good leader, the general has to have experienced what it's like to be a soldier.
Absolutely.
To understand what it's, you know, what it takes and what is, you know, the environment and all the positives and more importantly the negatives.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how do you expect these soldiers to follow you and you know, allow you to lead if you don't know them? And that's the problem, I believe, with you know, especially in the UK and the US, I would imagine, with the leaders that we get. They're people who have not experienced the lows. You know what I mean? Like, we have all of our prime ministers, pretty much, as far as I know, they've all been to the same private schools. They've all come from rich families. So none of them know what it's like to live in poverty. None of them know what it's like to, you know, when the fuel prices increase or the energy prices increase, what it's like to struggle.
I saw a video where someone was interviewing like a member of parliament or something. I'm not too sure who she was. And the guy asked her like, how much do your shoes cost? And she wouldn't answer. And then ultimately he got it out of her and she's like, oh no, just something normal like £800 for a pair of shoes. Like, that's how disconnected they are, you know what I'm trying to say?
This is what I mean. So like, it's absolutely crazy, honestly. And I think, you know, it's really good that you've done that. And I think it's really amazing, you know, what you do and how you handle it. Because I don't know, like, think about it, I don't have to, you know, I don't have to like, how to say it, like, I'm not having to manage the Viper members, for example. I don't manage them. You know, I have to just teach. I can't imagine what it would be like to manage that many people, you know, to make sure not only, because you're not only managing them, you're making sure they're happy as well. You want them to be happy. You want them to be doing their job well, and be happy to be there, no doubt.
Right, but the thing is, I'm not managing them myself only. You know, of course, you have
the whole network.
Exactly. So you have a hierarchy, you have managers, you have departments. So there is other people. If it was only me, it's impossible to manage.
That's another thing I forget. When you're on that scale, you know what I mean. When you're on that scale, you need those things, you know. And that's again smart, you know, leadership. Yeah, it's amazing though. It's amazing. And in terms of your trading, then, so like, obviously, you're at a point now where you're consistent. You're sticking to what you know.
Yeah.
And what would you say in terms of? You already said, obviously, you know, being more specific for yourself. But I know a lot of people chasing funding.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, just that's it. That's all they're focused on. And as we talked about earlier, a lot of people are trying to get funding without any form of results. So what would you say your advice would be for those who aren't quite there yet? You know, what would you say to them to say, you know, would it be patience? Would it be this?
I would say first find the right strategy, what works for you, and then you have to practice on demo. I mean, at least you have to do it on demo, apply it on demo for a month or two, and try to get 10% or 5%. Open a demo account and treat it just like a challenge. And if you pass that 2-3 times, then I would definitely say go for a challenge. But a lot of people don't have patience. They want to rush in. You know, they want to make money tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to wait for the whole process. Yeah.
That's it. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that about the demo there, because there was something actually I wanted to bring up, and we'll probably finish up on this. Is like, I call it the funding blueprint, and I came up with it over the meetups.
It was in Knots, right? I was sat right next to you.
Well, I came up with it in London, but then Knots is where I was speaking about it more, because I literally thought about
I was listening to him say it, and I'm like, fucking hell, this is sick. Like, this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But it's just in terms of psychology, you got to remember that, you know, we've seen, and I'm sure loads of people have seen, where people have done free trials, you know, 3, 4, 5 of them maybe, pass them all, and then when they do a challenge, they fail because of the psychology, right?
Yeah.
So I said, as a blueprint and as a process to really give yourself the most amazing chance of passing, do your free trial, right? Do 3 of them, right? Just to prove that you can pass that challenge. You know, in terms of the numbers, you can pass the numbers, no problem. And then do a small live account. You know, whatever amount, whatever you can afford, £100, £200, £500, £1,000, whatever, right? But I don't think you need to go over 1,000 really.
Yeah.
And trade that consistently to test your psychology now, right? You're actually testing your mindset, testing, more importantly, your greed, because at the end of the day, £1,000 or £500, you know, when you're doing the proper risk management, it's not really going to change your life, you know?
No.
You know, you're talking £5 risk, I believe, on £500, you know, if you're doing 1% risk. So 1 to 5, you're making 25 quid. It's not going to go, you know, it's not going to make you go crazy, right?
Yeah.
But your mindset's going to be like, let me just try and flip it. So trade that live account as if it was demoing you properly with your rules, follow those rules. And if you can do that, you're proving to yourself and showing yourself that you are ready.
Yeah.
But you need to, again, do it. There's not really a set time, I would say, right? You want to do it and you will know that, hey, I've been doing this for 6 weeks and I've already seen 20%. Or I've been doing this for 8 weeks and I'm calm and collected. I'm not changing and I've already seen 20% again. So like, as long as you're hitting that 10% goal again. So now you don't go do a challenge yet. Why? Because you've gotten used to low lot sizes.
Yeah.
You know, you got used to small profit amounts. So if you jumped back into it, it'll probably mess with you.
Mm-hmm.
So now you do a free trial again to just get used to and accustomed to the numbers. And now you do a challenge.
Yeah.
So now what you've done is you've proven that you can hit the numbers. You've then tested your psychology, then readjusted back to the lot sizes and everything. And now you've given yourself the best possible chance of passing that challenge. And then, I call that the funding blueprint.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
But I think it's just a process, because then it gives you something to actually do.
It covers all the bases as well.
Yeah, it actually gives you like, okay, don't just go and make 10% and then do a challenge. No, it's like that process might take 3 months, 4 months, right? But I think it gives you the most, like the way I describe it is that may be a long time, and it definitely is a long time if you've been trading, 3+ years, and this is your chance now to do it. Someone to say to you, hey, do another 4 months. Yeah, I can imagine you'll be annoyed, but you have to remember that. Did you get into trading to trade for a year or 2 years? No, you got into trading to essentially trade for the next 20, 30, 40 years probably, right?
Yeah.
So what is 3-4 months in that essence? It's basically what we were saying earlier about the vision,
It's a price you got to pay, man. If you there 100%.
Yeah.
And
another thing also that helped me when doing challenges is start with low risk. For example, risk only 0.25%. Majority of people they start risking 1%, and immediately they go into drawdown, and then because once you go below 5% drawdown, you're doomed. Finish it. That account is lost.
Yeah.
To save it is gonna be we have a very
one-hit wonder. Yeah.
Exactly. So this helped me definitely helped me. Another thing, once you get funded, I even reduce the risk sometimes even less than that. It's just easier on my psychology. Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, like you say, I think it's very powerful doing that, because at 0.25% risk, instead of 10 trades at 1% and you've lost it, that's 40 trades. You've 4 times it.
Exactly.
And the likelihood, if you're being disciplined, the likelihood of you losing that many trades in a row is I would say near impossible. I think the max you'll see in an edge when playing out, 1,000 trades is probably 10, if that, but that can happen, I guess.
But with a 0.25%, once you make, let's say, 2-3%, then I increase it to 0.5%. But at least you have a buffer. Then you're risking more of the profit than the actual capital.
Exactly, yeah. No, I love it. Honestly, I think it's the best way, because at the end of the day, these funded accounts, some people treat them as ways to get, make as much money as possible. So that's why they want the 1%, for example. Don't get me wrong, some people are comfortable with their strategy and doing 1%. I'm not one of them. 0.5% is absolutely fine for me. 1% on a personal account, I don't mind. But when it comes to challenges, I'm not comfortable doing 1%. That's just me. Yeah. I'm happy with what I do. And I do the same, like 0.25%, get a buffer, 0.5% then. Right. No problem. Yeah. I think it's the best way, like I said. And like you said, on the funded account, I wouldn't mind doing, like I said, even 0.10. Yeah. Exactly. At the end of the day, for me, it's about longevity. Yeah. Like I want to be able to use this essentially free money for me to be able to extract as much as I can and put it into a personal, until the point where I can probably get to a point where no more funded.
I think most people would be happy to get, 2 to 4 to 5K per month.
I mean 4 or 5K, yeah.
Exactly.
Completely, it will change, basically enough to be full-time for a majority of people.
Exactly. So why risk much more and risk losing the account or blowing it, So
that's it, man. Yeah. That's it. It's all about longevity, all about what's sustainable and what's going to keep you in the game the longest. And that is exactly that. But I think we're out of time. I did bring the hot sauces today, but I thought it would be a bit long to order a Nando's or something and then go downstairs.
Just make it straight away.
It's solid, Yousef. It's solid, honestly. I was at the meetup. He made me have this like proper this
Yours
chip.
wasn't even that bad.
It was. that one you gave me. The first ones was all right. Yeah. That one you gave me, I was for about half an hour, 45 minutes. I was just sweating at the meetup, just sweating, and just like people trying to talk to me. I'm like, That's why I keep talking. That's why I only risk. Yeah, I'm sorry. Krishna's done this to me. But thank you, Yousef, for coming. I know that you have to remember, guys, as well, Yousef don't do any of this kind of thing, but he's done it, I think, for me. I've been asking him for so long. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm sure people have enjoyed it. Yeah, Krishna, you're always here, so don't mind. But thank you for the gift. I really appreciate it. I still need to buy you a birthday gift now.
It's all good.
I'll get you day 16.
We could do it.
I'm going to get day 16.
You could do that on a podcast as well. Unboxing. That'd be sick.
Unboxing, yeah. Unboxing, what do you mean?
Of like whatever.
I'll buy you
a t-shirt or whatever.
Just buy you like a drink from
the shop.
Yeah,
then I'll unbox it. Oh, shit.
Buy him a Candora next time. You
I'll do that, yeah. I'll do that. That's nice. That's a good idea.
That'd be sick.
All right, well, welcome. Thank you. I said about to say welcome, but start again. I'm too tired. We're going to get going now. Thank you, everyone. Like and subscribe as always, and we'll catch you on the next episode.